Hi guys, Trevor Swenson, back with PTSD Through the Darkness. My journey with PTSD and trauma and stressor-related disorder. I wanted to talk about something today that has really been a battle for me in trying to understand how it works, and I think I finally have some clarity as to not only how it works, but why it works the way it does, and that is the memory part of PTSD. One of the interesting things that happens when you have PTSD is that you have a really hard time, I have a really hard time recalling all of the specific details of my PTSD and how I developed PTSD, and it really bothered me for quite some time. And in doing EMDR, to make the point even more clear, as I've been doing EMDR, there are a very few instances that I remember very, very clearly that the EMDR helps me to process out. And if you were to ask me for more things that contributed to my PTSD, I would have a really hard time telling you what those things were, even though that I know that they are there, because obviously I have PTSD and because there are other people that have been around me the years that I developed PTSD. But what I found out and what I want to tell you about today, in hopes of maybe giving you a little bit of peace about the memory part of your trauma story, whatever it may be, is that again it comes down to protection. By giving you only bits and pieces of whatever was traumatizing to you, it actually is your brain again taking care of you. And if I had to draw a picture of what EMDR looks like, if you could picture a flat board, that coming through the flat board there were all different lengths of extremely sharp pointed nails, but they were all different lengths, from 12 inches all the way down to 1 inch, and they covered that entire board. And if that represented your traumatic experiences, all of those different lengths of pointy objects, what EMDR does for me is that if you were to put a piece of paper on top of all of those pointed objects and start to gradually push down on it, there are a few that would come out right away as soon as you start pushing on the topic. And those are the memories that I am struggling with the most now in my PTSD walk. And it makes perfect sense when you think about it on the scientific side of things, as it's been explained to me, is that I honestly couldn't handle remembering all of those things that gave me the fight or flight or freeze reaction. I couldn't handle them physically, with having developed PTSD, to remember all of those things. But my mind, my brain is allowing me to experience or to remember just the tips of some of the ones that were stuck in my real-time memory, and all of those other ones with time, as we begin pressing down on my PTSD and my PTSD journey, will obviously start to poke through and need to be dealt with. The great thing is that with the EMDR, and again, it has helped me so much, because what EMDR has done for me is those points that come through first, those vivid memories of traumatic things that happened, if there were multiple things, a timeline, years of trauma, they take those, EMDR takes those ones that poke through first and bends them over and breaks them off and allows you to compartmentalize them in a more healthy fashion, and to process them in a professional environment and in a safe environment. And all of those other bits and pieces that I know are there, that I know are part of my development of PTSD, my brain literally is not allowing me to remember all of those things. It's protecting me. My body and mind and my brain know, dude, you were close to completely shutting us all down for good. That's how serious it was. And there is no way that we are going back and allowing all of those things to come roaring to the surface at one point. This is going to be dealt with gradually. That's how I picture my brain communicating with me and being very, very protective of me. And obviously, it's an amazing way that as I start to learn more and more and more about PTSD and go through more and more therapy, I am continually amazed at how our bodies are not built for sustained fight or flight, sustained fear, sustained trauma. Our bodies are not meant to be in that mode, and there are safety mechanisms in place in this beautiful creation of you and I to take care of it. And so if you're struggling with memory, we know it happened. We know that there's a trauma and stressor-related disorder. We know that that's the diagnosis. There just has to be compassion and patience and gentleness with yourself to allow those things that need to be dealt with to come out in a healthy way, and allow your body to process the trauma in a way that you are going to heal. And so I just wanted to talk about loss of memory, because I will tell you that it's very, very frustrating to me if I sit and think about all of the stuff that I'm unable to remember at this point in the middle of my walk with PTSD, with no security blanket pulling back the curtains, with no alcohol numbing and allowing me to think that I'm dealing with things. My brain has finally said, you know what? We're going to take care of this for you. We're going to take care of you. And so get help professionally and study how trauma works, and study your story, and allow yourself to be trauma informed in a healthy way, and in a way that you are making steps forward towards your healing that I know that you are going to accomplish by the grace of God and by hard work on your part. Remember, God loves you. Remember, He knows your journey. As I look at my PTSD journey, I will tell you that it is of no surprise, and He knew it was going to be part of my story. And I know that He will walk with me through this story and allow me the grace on a daily basis. That is where my anchor is. This is Trevor Swenson with Through the Darkness. Just wanted to cover another topic of the bits and pieces of loss of memory and struggling with memory in my story. And I can't wait to speak with you next time. Keep fighting. I'm right there with you.